agriculture continues to be a big part of Wisconsin's identity and economy, and it's no surprise many of the budget items being considered at the state capitol involve the ag industry.
This is an issue close to my heart. Brad Pfaff is the DATCP Secretary. He's joining us this morning to talk about initiatives and how they might help our farmers. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me here. And a special shout out to all our family farmers who are out in the barns this morning, milking the cows and feeding the calves.
Points for that. Hey, let's start with the trade war with China. The latest news is that President Trump is saying it might be 3 to 4 weeks before we see whether the trade talks are working. What can Wisconsin be doing to sort of bridge the gap there, to be helping our farmers in the meantime?
Well, that's a very good question, but I will say this. First of all, farmers want trade. They appreciate the financial aid, but they'd rather have trade. They want to be able to sell their goods. They work very hard in order to produce these goods. They've worked very hard to create these markets, these international markets. We need to make sure that we continue to supply our international buyers with the good products that come from our farm fields here in the state of Wisconsin. So what can we do here in the state of Wisconsin? At DATCP, Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, I'm continuing to communicate with our U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, as well as our U.S. Trade Representative's office in order to explain the fact that we here in Wisconsin, we are committed to continue to provide our foreign buyers with the products that we grow here in the state, and we ask them to move forward to ratify existing trade agreements that we have, as well as to make sure that we lift what tariffs are put in place.
You've talked in the past about how important it is to find new markets. Talk a little bit about the new NAFTA with Mexico and Canada, because these are old markets that are really important to our state.
They are very important to our state. In fact, Canada and Mexico are number one and number 3 when it comes to the Wisconsin products that we are selling, with Canada being number 1 and Mexico being number 3. China is number 2. We need to make sure that we can continue to move the products that we grow here in the state of Wisconsin. Obviously, we produce more than we can possibly consume, so making sure that we can sell our products not just domestically but also internationally is very important. Canada and Mexico have been very good markets for us. In fact, just last week I was in Mexico, had the opportunity to meet some of the farmers and some of the buyers of our products. What's interesting, where I was in central Mexico last week, is the footprint of Wisconsin agriculture is all over the Mexican dairy industry. The genetics for their dairy cows come from right here in Wisconsin. Their milking systems come from right here in Wisconsin. Their tractors and their equipment are made from Case IH and New Holland, right here in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's agriculture productivity is well known around the world. The quality of our craftsmanship is well known. We want to be able to continue to sell our products internationally.
You know, one of those things, obviously, Wisconsin farmers have had a tough couple of years. What are those things that you're going to be working on here in the near future to kind of help those families that are really struggling right now?
Well, that's a very good question, and I am very pleased that the Governor Evers' 2019-2021 biennial budget does a number of things that will, number 1, help provide more income-generating opportunities on the farm, and number 2, will help drive down the cost of doing business. So let's talk about some of these income-generating opportunities. We want to be able to sell our products, may it be locally, regionally, statewide, nationally, or internationally. Within the governor's budget, there's a Buy Local, Buy Wisconsin initiative in order to make sure we can sell more products locally. There's also an international market export initiatives within the governor's budget. The governor is also recognizes the fact that we need to continue to provide consumers with products that they want to be able to consume. Just a few weeks ago, working with the dairy farmers of Wisconsin, the governor announced a $750,000 initiative that will go to the Center for Dairy Research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in order to help researchers find more uses for milk as far as for fluid consumption. Fluid consumption of milk has declined. While overall dairy consumption has increased, the consumption of fluid milk has declined. But we all know that people like to drink fluid products. What can we do to get more fluid milk or fluid milk products within the overall consumer marketplace? That's what we're looking at. Obviously, there has to be more than just skim 1%, 2% whole milk. There's got to be opportunities for us to be able to provide new products. So the governor's investing in that. But what he's also doing is helping farmers in rural communities and rural people as far as to make sure that they can lower their costs. What can we do to do that? Well, number 1, we need to make sure that people in rural areas, may they be in rural Iowa County or rural La Crosse County, have an opportunity to have 21st century technology. What kind of technology? Broadband. Wireless broadband, a $78 million investment the governor has within the 2019-2021 budget. Also, we need to make sure that we keep health care accessibility and affordability. The governor is seeking the federal Medicaid dollars that we as taxpayers, the state of Wisconsin, have paid in throughout all these years. He's seeking that money back as part of the budget. It only makes sense. We need to make sure that we keep our rural health care infrastructure in place, because it's very important for rural residents as well as suburban and urban residents. And we just need to make sure that we have a transportation system that meets the needs of a growing economy like we have here in the state of Wisconsin. In order to get our goods off of our farm fields and out of our dairy barns, they need to travel on our rural roads and our state roads. And in order to bring these finished products to consumers in the urban areas, they need to travel on good roads. The
So much stuff,
in that.
Brad. Wow, we so appreciate you coming on and talking about this.
Thank you very much for everything that you do, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.